Thanks, guys. Thank you for clicking onto this video. Please subscribe. Let's get the numbers up. So, like I promised, I'm trying to do as many videos, at least post as many videos every week as I can. All right. In this video, I'm just going to talk about Brics. Recently, there was a seminar in Russia. The host was President Putin. Brics basically stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and the S is for South Africa. Now, there's other countries joining. I think Nigeria recently joined. It's basically the global South countries and using Russia as their leader and following that. You know, the whole thing is a good idea because we know the West tried to rip off Africa. They've tried to do so many things. And things just, they focus more. You look like there's NATO. NATO is pretty much European. And if you attack 10 of those countries, they all come together. So it makes sense that we have something on the global South. So that part, that's so cool. But here's the one thing I don't like about Brics. The countries that are the bigger countries, China and Russia and India, I don't think personally are well governed. You know, maybe India is. And that worries me. Because what are we going to learn from these countries? If you go to Russia, you got Putin. He's been president for such a long time. And that doesn't mean I support democracy. I don't support democracy or these terms and all that stuff. But I'm just saying, the way he eliminates the competition there, that's not something I would like Africa to adopt, because it's already happening and it's taken us nowhere. You know, the way the countries run, you got these oligarchs, you know, that run the country. You know, it's good to have billionaires. Some of them became billionaires in very suspicious ways. You know, it's not like, oh, you know, it was Steve Jobs and, you know, they worked hard. They were just kids in the garage making some things up. And then, nah, that's not what happened. Some of these people have connection to the government, and you gotta respect. This is the dude, Mr. Putin, as the guy you have to respect. And I don't think those are the sort of ideas that we should be adopting. China is good, right? There's a few things we can learn from China, yes. But still, I don't think they have an oppressive system. And I know sometimes you gotta collect people, put people in order. But still, I don't want their ideas. It works for them. And the reason why we can say, oh, we're going to have our own ideas in Africa. No, because there's never been a place or a country where or a group where the African culture and African way of doing things become accepted. It's always people coming to Africa and telling us what to do, and that's accepting it. You know, enslaving us in so many ways. You know, I was watching a video with I think I'll put it in the description below. This guy is a Gambian guy. I think he's in Mauritania, and he talks about how Mauritania is organized. Majority of the people are black, but then you get the top people who are like Arabs, but they said white. They look white Arabs or whatever that is. You know, they are at the top. You know, and they've come in there, and the religion is, they speak Arabic, their religion is Muslim, and all these things. And they've imposed that on these people. You know, now, I don't mind people's religion, but I hate it when it gets imposed on us. Someone else's religion gets imposed on us, and people start to follow, because that's how they control our minds. And I can see there's even like Islamic schools, people from the Gambia who go there to study. Why is there no like African institutions where people can go and learn a bit of Africa? You know, why does this always happen? And if you go there, slavery in Mauritania stopped in 2007. This is why I'm saying these things are connected. People bring their religion to your country and then enslave you. You know, and we just accept these things. If you go to Mauritania, it's a shit place. Let's just be real. You know, there's even like people there who are still enslaved, and they accept it because when slavery ended in 2007, Just think of that in 2007. I'm sure it's still happening even now. It's just the government maybe just looks the other way. There's some people who accepted to remain enslaved because they didn't know where else to go. That's how messed up things get. Every time there's a lighter skinned individual and black people always end up being controlled or enslaved or manipulated or something. So even when we look at Brics, I don't think they're gonna be ideas coming out of Africa going to Russia and being adopted, or going to China and being adopted. What we're gonna have is Russia and the Chinese coming to Africa in droves with money to come and take over our economies. And whoever controls the economy controls you. And basically that's what's gonna happen. Because I can hear even the speech that Ramaphosa gave, talking about, oh, come and invest in Africa. Come and invest in Africa. If they come to invest, they are enslaving you because there are no companies already there. What we should be doing first is educate our people and making sure that if we're going to invite someone to come and invest, okay, you bring your money, the land is here, and these people are going to offer the land. That's the 50-50. This is where you're going to work, and these are the team you're going to work with. And those people are just as capable, because we've taught them, trained them, of running things the same way those people coming into the country are going to. But that's not the case. That's not the case. These people come, they become the bosses, and all of the Africans just become the workers. Because the government doesn't put up programs that help people get the right education that we need. So as a result, we look like we don't know what we're doing. Which is why I'm going to post this video. I just want you to watch it. This is a guy in South Africa. He was interviewing this guy, and he says something true about African governments. Listen. Thank you.
Do you know what is interesting about the story of Rutland? He will tell you that for him to be where he is, to form the trucking company that then brought the tobacco company, he had to be empowered by black Zimbabweans. So the first 2 buses that he used to start his business, called Pioneer, he was sold those buses by a black Zimbabwean who was head of indigenization. After getting those 2 buses, he didn't have anywhere to park them. So he went to park them at a guy who was called Chawasarira, who owned a fleet of buses. That's where he used to service it. That's where he used to park it. And he also gave him routes. And from that business, Simon Rutland built himself up to be probably one of the richest men in Africa today. And Rupert doesn't like the fact that the cigarette business that he had in South Africa has been overtaken by RG, Simon Rutland, and his brother. And so this is why you see so much hatred. We come from there, we go into steel. We've become the biggest steel producer on the continent in this sanctions period. Education, we've got more government-owned universities in Zimbabwe built by the Zimbabwean government than South Africa, because when we started, we had 1 university. We've now got 18 universities in Zimbabwe, all built by the Zimbabwean government. Hospitals, same thing, built by the Zimbabwean government. So there are a lot of successes that came out. Right now with wheat, Zimbabwe and Ethiopia are the only 2 wheat self-sufficient countries in Africa at the present moment, where we produce enough wheat to feed our people and then to export the rest. Whereas South Africa was last sufficient in wheat in 1989.
1989.
This goes to
dispel. So we import wheat.
You import majority of your wheat. This dispels this notion that only white farmers can farm and black farmers cannot farm. But this you will not hear in the newspapers, because the notion should be black people cannot farm, and Zimbabwe is the example that black people cannot farm. Tobacco, we're still the 2nd biggest tobacco industry in the world. We were always the 2nd biggest tobacco industry in the world. And these are the things that you will not hear spoken about, but they're important for us, especially South African black people, to hear. Because the reason your leaders went into a GNU is they don't believe black people can do it. So in Zimbabwe, we've got the biggest billionaires are black, the biggest fuel suppliers are black, the biggest bankers are black. And we're saying to South Africa, you can do it too, if Zimbabwe can do it. If you go right now to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, you realize that they've got the biggest airline. It is
that is correct. They're the number 1 airline of choice on the continent.
Built by black people. They don't have white executives. They didn't have a state capture. They just got black people who know what they're doing. When we look at the Inga Dam and the energy that it is producing, Ethiopia did not have an electricity grid, but they've built an electricity grid from scratch on their own, utilizing money from their own diaspora, using their border jumpers and what that are outside the country. They bring in a lot of money.
So it's the Ethiopians Paza shops that are busy building electricity grids in Ethiopia. But look, if they're using the money to build infrastructure, personally, I can't hate.
And the point I'm trying, and they don't have any Western banks in Ethiopia. And I couldn't believe that. They've got a country that is functional and is done by locals. And I'm trying to say to South Africans, you don't need white people to build your country.
So there you have it. He's very honest. You know, every time I've heard, I'm in Australia right now, and every time you hear people from Zimbabwe, the only thing they talk about is, oh, they've destroyed the economy. But one of the reasons why the economy is not even booming as it should in Zimbabwe is because Zimbabwe has been sanctioned. You see? They have sanctioned them. When you sanction somebody, they can't operate. That's something that has happened to Cuba. You can't sell anything globally. You can't do a lot of stuff globally. You can't. And that's their biggest customer is probably China right now. But even in that condition, Zimbabwe is still the number 2 producer of tobacco. Do you know who's producing that? Black farmers. It's still, there's only 2 countries in Africa that are producing enough wheat, and Zimbabwe is one of them. You know who's producing that? Black farmers. You know, there's no poverty, there's no starvation going on in Zimbabwe. If anything, the government buys the corn for the people. So as long as you grow corn, there's a customer. I'm not saying it's perfect, but Zimbabwe is not going backwards. If there was no sanctions today, Zimbabwe would be the fastest growing economy, probably one of the fastest growing economies in the world. But they have sanctions. However, you can see there's now little young people, young African people who are going to school and studying farming and going back and getting into farming. The only thing the Zimbabwean government has done is try to educate their people. They own their own universities. It's not like in South Africa. Zimbabwe has real black billionaires, not like in South Africa where you have, what's that guy's name? The fake billionaire. There's a fake black billionaire there. I think he's just given the billionaire status. He's not. You can say it doesn't have the real billionaire business acumen. You know, I can't remember his name, but he's like he's now the FIFA president in Africa or some stuff like. They just give him this. You can see the guy can't even speak properly. He's the one who went to see Trump and says, "Oh, Africa loves you, Mr. President." You can see the guy was even shaking. You know, because those are the people who just got handed stuff. You can't even speak. However, in Zimbabwe, you got real billionaires, and you go there, black people helping out black people becoming, and this is what this guy was talking about, becoming rich. So we can do it. However, we have a problem with governments that don't believe in their own people, and sometimes they even want to sabotage their own people. So imagine if we go now trying to make a deal with Russia. Are we going to win? No. You know, our guys are going there with reading the Bible. The other guys are reading Machiavelli the Prince. You know, how to be clever in a cunning way. That's why we don't get good deals. Because we go there, we say something, and then we start praying, hoping, oh, God answers. It doesn't work like that. Because these guys can see your weakness, and then they manipulate the whole thing. And then you come back. Because that's what I don't understand. These guys will go and buy, let's say, these high-speed trains. The country from Greater Africa, not Sub-Saharan Africa, Greater Africa buys trains, goes to buy trains in China. Country from North Africa goes to buy trains from China. Same price, but the quality of trains is different. You know, because one group there went there praying, the other group went there smart, trying to get a better deal. And because these people don't even know what they're doing, so when they go there, they just ask for anything. Because we have a mindset of like, oh, you know, we're begging, we are like this. We can't get good deals because we have people. It's funny in Africa, man, the dumbest people become politicians. They're the guys who are like, if they didn't work in government, they'll probably be in poverty. So that's a desperate person. All he wants quick buck. Most of these people, whenever they are voted out of office, some of these, I know, especially in Zambia, they go broke. because they don't have the acumen of a business person. They're not even smart enough to know how to have financial literacy. That's why they go broke. Now, how do you expect someone like that to help the economy of a country? For you to have a good economy, you have to think. That's why the Japanese do very well. What is it that Japan has that Congo doesn't? What is it that Congo has that Japan doesn't? You put two countries here. Congo is actually rich in natural resources. Japan is not. However, this country has brain power. That's why they've done so well. Let's just be honest. It's all about brain power. Brain power will allow you to work together because you can see the common goal. You are not in the cave. Plato's the allegory of the cave. You can actually realize quicker. It's much easier to communicate with people when there's brain power because they can see it. When people have low energy, they can't see nothing apart from going to heaven. Not realizing that heaven is right here. And these are the people who become leaders. And then you wonder why we are not moving at a fast pace. Because I tell you what, I don't want these countries, like African countries, to join Brics and then be asking for these people to come and invest. I would like Africans to come together and create opportunities for Africans first, before then we go and ask for people in Brics to work with us. The first thing to do is make sure the whole of Africa unite under a common goal. And then we bring other people in. Because if we bring other people in, we're just going to be enslaved. All over again. Economical enslavement. We become the workers, and one or two people do well, and we all now get jealous because of that. That's not what we want. You can have, I know most of the people, especially the people coming from America, might say, oh, Brics. I've seen a lot of African Americans who are in Africa talking about Brics this, Brics that. You don't want Brics. Trust me. Trust me. Think America is worse? Try to be under China. Or even India. So something, you don't want to be under that, or even Russia. You don't want to be under them, man. It's worse than you get in America. If there's something we can learn, is America has more for us to learn from about how to create at least a free economy and how to empower our people. We can learn something from there. People have to be free. Yes, we can try to perfect something here and there. We don't have to copy and paste everything. No. But what we can do is we can go there and look at the things that are going to benefit us. And then some of the things, we tweak them a little bit. Because cultures are different. We don't want to lose our culture. It's not about westernizing ourselves or Christianizing ourselves. It's about modernizing the society. We have to be very careful with countries in Brics. You go to Brazil, racism. Russia, racism. China, racism. India, racism. All these places have that problem. So trust me, you don't want those people coming to rule you. Because it's going to happen if we are not very careful. That's why I don't believe in Brics. Yeah, it's a good thing to have. We can work together. But I just think like every time a lighter-skinned person comes in contact with Africans, for some weird reasons, it doesn't end very well for Africans. And we haven't gotten to a position or place where we can say never again, like the Jews have done. We don't have a strong army. We are still very good and welcoming to everybody. People just come there. I'm hearing all sorts of things happening. People showing up as Christians helping out people and ends up killing 100 people. It happened in Uganda. In Liberia, some white dude shows up, and because black men just like to give out their women, he takes this black woman and goes and kills her. Weird things are happening because we haven't actually come down and realized that we have an enemy. And we strategize on how we are going to operate towards this enemy. It doesn't have to be about killing the enemy or war, but just know how to handle things and let them know that you're not going to accept stupid behavior anymore. We haven't done that. And I tell you what, because we haven't done that, we haven't come around and understanding and coming up with something to help us, is the reason why we don't want the Russians, the Chinese, the Indians, people from Brazil coming there and then try to open up business where you are the worker. Because once they start running the economy, the poverty is not going to change because they don't give a crap about you. We already have investors from South Africa and some of these, like in Zambia. Can someone tell me when ShopRite or the owners of ShopRite donated something to a local school? Nothing. Absolutely nothing, because these people don't have your best interest at heart. That's just the fact. So stop saying, oh, investors come. We go about this thing the wrong way. This man was right. That's why South Africa are so scared of not giving land to blacks. Because they'll say, oh, look what has happened in Zimbabwe, but they're scaring you. Yes, you're going to go through pain. Nothing ever just changes overnight. Sometimes you got to go through pain because that's the learning process. And then once you remain focused, look at the goal. Look at the goal. It might take 20 years, but once you come out on the other side, it's paradise. It's paradise. Just remember that. So suffering now must be a must for a better future. No such thing as quick money. No such thing as lying and stealing and all those things. Because once you do that, it actually sends you backwards. You can't develop with that attitude. Right now, we can't afford the way people run things in these Brics countries. Is not how we want Africa to end up. We have nothing. Yeah, a little bit to learn here and there, but we don't want to be like Brics countries. Oh, with Mana South Africa, like the BRIC countries, we don't want to be like them. They have their own issues. The problem is, every time, and I'm going to say this again, every time someone light-skinned shows up among black people, it never ends well for black people. And it's time we started to realize that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Goodbye.